are about to watch is going to be much different than anything else I've ever filmed. I'm very concerned for my friend Millie Weaver, and I think she's surrounding herself with some really bad influences. I want you guys to understand that this video is coming from a place of love and concern for someone I have spent a lot of time around, someone whose newborn baby I've held, and someone I once considered a close friend. But within the last year, she surrounded herself with some very questionable people, which has caused her to turn her back on and lie about everyone that she used to work with or consider a friend. I've spent time around Millie's family, and I think that they're great people. But Millie has unfortunately befriended very sketchy characters that I believe put Millie and her family in danger, because some of them are even married to child rapists. And that's why I'm making this video for you guys, because a lot of things are going to change, and it's important to get the truth out there before they put out more lies about everybody else. All of you are probably aware by now, Millie was arrested this past weekend at her home in Ohio. She recorded a 1-minute live stream to her Facebook where she looked like she had no clue why she was being arrested and suggested it was because she was about to release a documentary.
Guys, I'm literally about to break huge breaking news right now, and I'm being arrested and I have no idea why.
Now, before I get into the arrest, I want to talk to you guys about that documentary. It's a film called ShadowGate, and conservatives have been blowing up this documentary because they think she was arrested over it. But what the people sharing this documentary don't know is that it has some very interesting people listed as whistleblowers. And these whistleblowers don't just think Barack Obama and the Democrats are running a shadow government, but they think many of the right-wingers you look up to and love, such as Roger Stone, Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, Dan Bongino, Matt Gaetz, Judge Jeanine, and even myself, are all deep state federal agents. And for the record, I am just a YouTuber. I'm not a federal agent, and if I were, I'd be doing a pretty bad job at it. So before believing anyone in Millie's documentary and sharing it around as if it's fact, it would probably be important to find out who Millie interviewed to establish their credibility. So who are the whistleblowers in Millie's documentary? The first one is a guy named Patrick Berge, who claims to be a cybersecurity specialist that worked for General James Jones.
Hell, if Alex Jones, the biggest fucking conspiracy theorist on the planet, doesn't see this as an issue, well, he's fucking as dirty as I thought he was. Galvin and Millie assured me that he wasn't, that he was a straight up guy. We were concerned about people possibly around him.
Patrick makes a lot of bold claims in the documentary and tries connecting a lot of dots. But the dots he connects outside the film are pretty eyebrow-raising. Let me show you some of his tweets just from the last few weeks. Just last week, Berge was calling OAN host Jack Posobiec a deep state agent that was funded by the feds to post memes. Berge tweeted, quote, "Shame you didn't ask who was funding your IIA meme project in 2016. You may think what you're doing is unique or somehow helpful, but it's not. You're destroying America's election integrity, literally the core of our democracy that so many died to protect." That same day, Berge shared someone else's tweet about Jack, which said, quote, "This guy is an IIA asset. Don't look to him to be on the right side of history." His dislike for Jack doesn't just end there. He also tweeted, quote, "Poso is in CYA mode because he's an effing IIA asset. These people make me puke." He then started calling Mike Cernovich a deep state agent. Berge tweeted, quote, "Posobiec should ask Cernovich if his IIA handlers contacted him before he publicly blackmailed Trump to protect Bannon from being fired. Or did they reach out after? My money was on after. Pretty sure that wasn't approved by the Navy PAO. I mean Poso, LOL. Not the tightest run, IIA guys." He also accused Roger Stone of being a deep state agent. Yeah, the same Roger Stone that was arrested over Russiagate and had to be pardoned by President Trump himself. Berge wrote, quote, "I'm pretty sure I saw Roger Stone in this trailer with a bunch of bad guys playing an IIA game on us. Stone is going on InfoWars with Alex Jones in a few minutes. I wonder if it will come up? All I want is the truth." In another tweet about Stone, he wrote, quote, "Roger Stone is a lying sack of shit. Dems weaponize his morally bankrupt past against Trump. Question: will Alex Jones ask Stone about ShadowNet? I don't think Alex knows Stone was General Jones' partner when ShadowNet was made public. He's also taken shots at Matt Gaetz, Devin Nunes, and Judge Jeanine, tweeting, quote, "Sure is a big coincidence a freshman congressman getting seat on judiciary. Same committee Devin Nunes is on. Nunes has known since December 2018, February 2019, when my congressman and Judge Jeanine spoke with him. Are they protecting Obama's NSA because they used ShadowNet themselves to win?" He has also tweeted, quote, "Why did Representative Matt Gaetz and the rest of them protect Obama's national security advisor? What/whom are they afraid of?" Patrick Berge also really doesn't like Dan Bongino for some reason, and on his website he's written, quote, "I couldn't give a rat's rear end about Dan Bongino. He's a former Secret Service agent assigned to protect President Obama, and he's still doing his job, protecting Obama and his former national security advisor." The crazy thing is that these are just tweets that Patrick's written over the last few weeks. If you want to scroll back even further, his tweets are pretty wonky. But what's even wonkier is Millie's other whistleblower in the film, a woman who calls herself Tori. Tori is someone who has publicly accused me of being a deep state agent and Antifa recruiter, which is ironic because Tori has also shared defamatory articles about me from actual Antifa sources that call me a Nazi and call for me to be physically hurt. Here are a couple of tweets that Tori wrote before her old Twitter account got banned. Quote, "Is at Kate Marie OX the recruiter for Antifa within the conservative ranks? Is she pushing to radicalize conservatives?" She also wrote, quote, "Is Liberty Hangout using leftist tools, taking things out of context? Sound like people are showing their real agenda. Pro-Trump? Think again. Liberty Hangout is a demonstration of IIA. At Kate Marie OX is trying to radicalize conservatives." Then Millie Weaver herself unfortunately amplified Tori's conspiracy that I'm a government agent by saying, quote, "IIA?" and posting pictures of government documents. Tori claims she was a private contractor for intelligence agencies, but she couldn't tell USA Today who she worked for because, quote, "the names of the companies would change often." Tori has also attacked InfoWars and their employees and once said this about InfoWars producer Rob Dew, quote, "Why is Deep State Department clown at Dew News, whose uncle was the reason AJ was taken to court but oddly was never sued, saying he got video from UK sent to him when I got it on Friday, and it's in my article which I compressed on March 28th from my computer." But these tweets from Tori only scratch the surface about her credibility. Before I take you down a rabbit hole into who this woman is, let me show you a few more tweets from her that she's written rather recently. A few days ago, Tori tweeted, quote, "Snowden is not innocent or a whistleblower. He whistleblew so he can hide in China to build out the networks Brennan built. Then Russia to try to involve Putin, but Putin painted him into a box while getting info. Pay attention. Look who supports Snowden." Tori then completely made up a conspiracy that Trump is looking into pardoning Edward Snowden to take attention away from Millie's documentary. She tweeted, quote, "Funny how Snowden is coming up now and has been creeping since Millie Weaver dropped the trailer. But coincidence, hashtag mitigation? Totally not connected." Because the guy that fled the country, risked his life, and left behind his family to expose the biggest data mining program in US history is totally a deep state agent himself, right? And let's be real, President Trump is way too busy to be anywhere involved in trying to hide Millie's documentary. Like Patrick Berge, Tori also took shots at Roger Stone and accused him of being part of a deep state plot against President Trump. She tweeted, quote, "Why would Roger Stone drop his appeal? If he drops his appeal, the judicial corruption can't be exposed and General Jones gets off scot-free, and the cronies can continue to execute the coup against the president." So who is Tori and why is Millie working with her? Well, I can't answer the second question, but I might be able to answer the first. According to court documents, she goes by a few names, and forgive me if I can't pronounce them. Terpishore P. Maris Lindemann, aka Terpishore Marsas Lindemann, aka Terpishore Maris Lindemann, and aka Tori Mara Lindemann. According to voter records, Tori and her husband are both registered Democrats, and Tori says that her husband isn't even a US citizen. This woman has gotten herself into a lot of legal trouble over the years, which makes me really question why Millie was working with her, and it all started with her husband. This is going to disgust you guys beyond belief, and I hope that after I tell you this, You question why Millie is letting this woman around her family. Tori Lindemann is married to Barry Lindemann, who is facing life in prison for sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl late last year. According to the Minot Daily News, quote, Barry Mervyn Lindemann, 40, is accused of sexually abusing a young girl on multiple occasions at a location in Ward County when she was as young as 10. According to a probable cause affidavit filed with the court, Lindemann went to the Minot police station on Saturday and confessed to the police. Lindemann also showed police text messages he had sent to the girl, admitting that he had abused her. He also confessed his crime to a police officer from another area police department. Lindemann confessed that he had sexually abused the girl at a location in Wells County as well. This is all very interesting because Tori is someone who likes to claim that she was, quote, exposing human trafficking rings, and yet she couldn't catch on to what her own husband was doing? Or did she know? With no ounce of irony, Tori also shares posts calling Bill Clinton a, quote, confirmed child rapist, while Millie probably has no clue what her husband did to a 10-year-old girl. I want to know why Millie Weaver has entrusted this woman to be around her family, and if she was aware of this before letting her into her home. Now I know that Tori isn't responsible for her husband's sick crimes, but when so much else is sketchy about the woman, why would you let someone around your kids if you know that their husband is a child sex predator? These are things Millie needs to know about so she can protect her family and her reputation. Just last week, Tori came into legal troubles of her own after a district judge in North Dakota determined that she engaged in consumer fraud 2 years ago. According to the Minot Daily News, quote, North Central District Judge Todd Cressup issued a default judgment on August 7th requiring Tori or her attorney to pay the state's reasonable expenses. They filed a proposal to the court for $9,000 in civil penalties on 9 counts in the consumer fraud complaint, which cites misrepresentations related to the Minot show and a Harvey fundraiser. The court previously ordered her to pay $6,600 in attorney general expenses and an additional $10,000 reimbursement. So what did Tori do that landed her these consequences? Investigators say that she set up a fraudulent Christmas charity and used the donations, quote, for purchases of fast food and QVC purchases. Her questionable character doesn't even end just there, unfortunately. Tori has also been accused of stolen valor and fabricating details about her military career. According to a profile created in Tori's name in 2010 on the website TogetherWeServe.com, she was a decorated lieutenant in the Navy that served for 18 years and was awarded a Purple Heart in the Defense Distinguished Service Medal. But according to documents from the North Dakota Supreme Court, Tori only served 8 months active duty in the Navy. Then on Twitter, Tori was talking about how she has, quote, served under many generals and observed countless ones of other nations. Which is strange considering there are no generals in the Navy. They're called admirals. But I'm not shocked that she wouldn't know that, considering she also calls herself a soldier on Twitter when they're actually called sailors in the Navy. Tori tweeted last year, quote, as a squid myself, I loathe being called a sailor. I consider myself a soldier. U.S. Navy sailors are soldiers. They are soldiers of the sea. The craziness surrounding Tori still doesn't end there, sadly. She also claims to be a Harvard-educated doctor. According to a stolen valor investigator, Tori's bio on a radio show, quote, states she went to Harvard. Only problem with that is that Harvard never heard of her. 2 years ago, Tori also tried running for mayor in Minot, North Dakota, and she had apparently harassed so many people in town that some concerned citizens started a petition to try to get her prohibited from running for mayor. The petition called Prohibit Tori Maris Lindemann from running for mayor in Minot, North Dakota reads, quote, a petition is being started because it is felt that this individual is a concern for the well-being of our city and the people that reside within it. Due to harassment using multiple pages, libel, lying about city officials, and claiming several credentials that have been proved to be false, including that of stolen valor. A number of concerned citizens would like this shut down before any more damage can possibly be done. One signer of the petition wrote, quote, "I don't want this crazy, delusional thing to be the mayor of my town that I've lived in for 26 years. She is a horrible human being who blocks people when they ask questions or point out lies. She attacks others and threatens their livelihood. Don't vote for the psycho." So this is the close company Millie has kept herself around, and I believe is why Millie has become increasingly paranoid over the last year and destroyed all of the relationships she has had with people that cared about her and helped advance her career. When I would go on trips with Millie, she and her boyfriend Gavin would accuse numerous InfoWars workers of being FBI and CIA agents, including Owen Schroyer, Rob Dew, Michael Zimmerman, Savannah Hernandez, and even Alex himself.
Gavin and Millie assured me that he wasn't, that he was a straight up guy. We were concerned about people possibly around him.
Their paranoia was so bad that they believe the only reason Owen has a beard is because he's an FBI informant that will skip town and shave it off after he's done his work. Don't believe me? Go through Millie's Twitter and try to find a single instance of her defending Owen over the years. You can't, and you won't, because the only time she's ever tweeted about Owen was to throw him under the bus after he got kicked out of CPAC earlier this year. And of course, we've already established that Tori publicly called Rob Dew a deep state agent, but Millie was also liking tweets clear back in April of this year that bashed Alex and questioned who he was funded by. Again, I want to reiterate, I am not telling you this to bash Millie or get you to hate her. I'm telling you this so you understand where her paranoia has been fueled from. Unfortunately, Millie was also publicly attacking another person for no reason this April. And it was me. Just a few weeks after my wedding, Millie, out of literally nowhere, decided to start publicly attacking me on Twitter to accuse me of supporting Sharia law and wanting to whittle away the Constitution. This is what prompted her friend Tori to call me a recruiter for Antifa and a deep state IIA agent, which Millie then parroted. So after hearing Millie tell me for nearly 2 years how she thought Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew were all FBI agents, now it came my time to be called a federal agent, apparently. I never publicly responded to any of Millie's insults towards me because they came out of nowhere and I considered her a friend. So I tried instead texting her to work things out and see what her problem was with me. She responded by not only insulting my wedding, but accused me of trying to get conservative men to be sexist against women. This all happened 1 week before the incident that Millie wound up getting arrested over, and I think the timing is all really important. Anyone who knows Millie personally can tell you how paranoid she and Gavin are about federal agents.
And then she was like, "Oh, they're after me. You got to call me this morning." I was like working out. I'm like, "Oh, Millie's paranoid."
Which is why the story of her arrest is very believable to those of us that know her. Millie wasn't arrested over her documentary, and she knows this. Millie was arrested over an altercation she had with her mom. Now, before I explain this to you guys, I'm not saying that maybe there's a Democrat out there that wanted to see Millie get into some sort of trouble and cause some conflict in her life. But what I am telling you is that they did not arrest her over her documentary. So what is the alleged altercation that Millie had with her mom? According to police, quote, "The felony charges against Millie Weaver stem from an April incident where Weaver, her boyfriend, and her brother grabbed her mother, threw her to the ground, and stole her cell phone." Weaver's mother, 51-year-old Felicia McCarran, told Portage County Sheriff's deputies on April 25th that she was recording audio of the trio verbally abusing her when they saw her cell phone in the back pocket and attacked her. Knowing Millie personally, I can see why she might act out this way against her own mom. She and Gavin are so paranoid about everybody that they think anyone around them might be an FBI agent. And when they saw her mom recording them, I believe they very well could have thought she too was a federal agent spying on them. It's all very plausible based on their public statements and their characters, and I sincerely hope that Millie and Gavin will come to their senses and realize that not everyone around them is a federal agent. After the altercation happened, Millie's mom ran to a neighbor's house to call 911. The cops came out to immediately begin investigating, and after they determined that Millie, Gavin, and Charles Weaver's stories weren't consistent, The cops told Millie to her face on that day 4 months ago that they could be charged, and so she started filming the officers. But Millie never released any of that video until this Wednesday after she had already been arrested. When Millie was arrested last week, she posted a 1-minute live stream where she acted shocked and insinuated she was being arrested over her documentary. This was the narrative that Tori and Patrick Berge ran with while she was in jail, and quickly became the narrative that conservatives promoted online. But as the facts came out, it became clear that not only was Millie not arrested for her documentary, but she knew exactly why she was being arrested. A number of conservatives stuck their necks out for Millie while she was in jail, who then had their names dragged through the mud for tweeting out what would later become false information. My friend Elijah Schaefer, who also considered himself a friend of Millie's, tweeted out, quote, "Just so you know, Millie Weaver, a friend and fellow content creator, was arrested for allegedly obtaining leaked government documents while working on a documentary." Once more information started coming out, Elijah retracted his original tweet, but that didn't stop the liberal media from including his tweet anyway to discredit him. Once it came out that Millie wasn't arrested over her documentary, people online used this to discredit Alex Jones and InfoWars as well, claiming that he set it up to promote her documentary on his site. Others online used her arrest to attack myself and InfoWars, asking why none of us were there outside the jail when Millie got arrested. Now that Millie's been out of jail for a few days, she still has not corrected anyone who said she was arrested for her documentary. The officers told her in April she could be charged for the altercation with her mother based on evidence. Her movie is still on the internet. None of her computers were seized, none of the whistleblowers in her film were arrested, and she was held in a county jail, not a federal prison. If you're being arrested for a documentary, I would believe that they would probably seize the documentary, which they did not do. A lot of good people have had their names thrown around over this, all because Millie was deluded by some really dark influences into thinking everyone around her is a federal agent. And if you're watching this, Millie, I'm sure you might take this the wrong way and interpret this as an attack on you, but it's not. I'm genuinely concerned for you and concerned for your children. They are too young to understand what kind of people you're inviting into their lives, and I hope for your sake and theirs that you reconsider your new friendships. We are praying for you guys to get the help you need and take some time away from politics to find your place, because right now the people around you are only dragging you down. We care about you and we are worried about you, and I hope you will realize that we are not your enemies. It's the people manipulating you into destroying your lives that are.